Well, one of the things they were talking about is just the consistency of Brian's swing, and I wonder if you could share a little bit about some of the swing fundamentals that are part of the golfing machine, which I might point out to listeners is a very well-known textbook in the golf world about swing mechanics, and I think probably one of the longest published textbooks, isn't it, Lynn?
It's been out there a while. Obviously, the first edition was published in 1969. The actual work on it began in 1941. So the book was 28 years old when it was born. And then from 1969 to 1982, there were 5 more editions. So a total of 6 editions. And then since Homer died in 83, and here just a couple of years ago, a 7th edition was brought out posthumously based on certain revisions that he had planned on making.
So give us the basis of the golfing machine, some of the basics that you think are very, very important.
Okay, well, all golfers have 3 things to control, and they all have to do with that golf club. They got to control the club head, they got to control the club face, they are different, and they've got to control the club shaft. We believe that you control the club face with the flat left wrist, and you control the club shaft and stress with a lag pressure point, which is located in the right-hand index finger. And to control the club shaft, you trace a straight line baseline of the inclined plane. So as long as you control those 3 basics, the face, head, and shaft with a flat left wrist, a club head lag pressure point, and a straight plane line from the address to the top to the finish, you are getting the job done. You can stand on your ear as long as you do those things. So it allows for an infinite variety in procedure. This is not a method. This is a system. It recognizes that these components exist and they must coexist, respecting their own individual identities, but it's something that needs to be organized and cataloged and worked on one piece at a time.
Yeah,
and then, of course, you play totally by feel.
Yeah, one thing really jumps out at me that I think is what most people don't really realize in talking about the face of the club. The back of your left hand is the face of the club. You turn it down, the face shuts. You turn it up, the face opens. I mean, you move it down the line, the face is square to the ball. To me, that's a huge thing that people really don't pay attention to.
Well, that's right, Mary. Lee Trevino said it great long ago. He said, I got 2 club faces. One's at the end of the club shaft and one's at the end of my left arm.
Good way to put it. And then people can relate to that almost easier than the club face, I think. Now, let's go to the head again. You talk about lag.
The club face and the club head and the club shaft actually, at the end, once you go through all these, become irrelevant. I mean, they do what the hands do. The hands control everything. There are 3 zones, the body zone, the arm zone, and the hand zone. You got the body for balance, for the pivot. You got the arms for power, and then you got the hands for the purpose and the direction. But they each have their assignments. Unfortunately, most methods tend to focus on one of those 3 zones or the other. But in reality, all 3, body, arms, and hands, have to be controlled. Body control, club control, ball control.
Well, pretty interesting. I think a lot of people sitting at home listening to this would love to come up and talk with you and have you watch them. Do you have any videos?
Well, you don't even have to come up and talk with me. Just log on to lynnblakegolf.com. That's Lynn, L-Y-N-N, Blake, B-L-A-K-E, golf. You know how to spell that, G-O-L-F.com. We have over 100 free videos, and then we have several streaming videos featuring no less than one J. Brian Gay, and then some premium videos that we charge nominal fees for, $24.95, to really get up close and personal with some great champions. And that's where, like, for example, Brian and I, we did one for an hour out at Keens Point. Not really, super professional. There weren't mics and all that stuff on us, but here is one of the great players of the world demonstrating the swing mechanic. It's 1 full hour, and I think we got that out at $35, and that's just a wonderful thing. Also, I did a DVD series of 3 with VJ Trolio, who's over in West Point, Mississippi at Old Waverly Golf Club. VJ's co-inventor of the putting arc, and we did a series called Alignment Golf, and that is also available for purchase on my website.
Waverly Golf Course, the Jack Nicklaus course up there in Jackson, Mississippi. A nice course to play, too.
Oh, it's fabulous. Yeah. And let me say one thing here, too. Brian is a wonderful talent. I mean, he was Walker Cupper, low medalist in the Open Qualifier here one year way back, and he was a money-making PGA Tour player. When millions of people aspire to the game, and thousands actually try the various tours, he is one of the few that actually made the tour and have stayed on tour. I mean, I don't know the statistics, but I guarantee I would be willing to bet that about 80% of the tour turns over every 5 years or so. So he's always been a good player, and he lived on his short game. What happens when you marry a wonderful long game with a wonderful short game? Let me give you an idea. The short game just didn't disappoint here at Harbortown. He was 3rd in putts per round. He was 10th in sand saves, and he was second in the total putts made. All right, that's great. That's typical Brian Gay. But what do we have now? Fairways hit, second. Greens in regulation, third. Proximity to the hole, first. Okay, what do you get? You get domination. You get 20 under and a win by 10 shots.
And $1 million paycheck. That'll work for me.
Yeah, there's $1,026,000 reasons.
Hey, Lynn, I got news for you. Rich Fee, Mary, and I, we're getting in a van, and we're heading up to your place
Come
right
on,
after
let
the
me
show.
say one other thing. The knock is he's short off the tee. Well, now wait just a second. Maybe only by some freak tour standards. And they couldn't imagine. Hey, on 18 coming in, they were amazed in the broadcasting booth that 175 yards, 8-iron, Brian Gay. Tell me when 175 yards in an 8-iron is short. And if you look at the stats, he averaged 260.1 yards off the tee during the tournament, but that ranked him 72nd. Now, as I recall, there were 144 players that teed it up. So that meant that, yes, half the field was longer, but it also means that half the field was shorter.
Well, Lynn, I have, being a golf professional myself, I think people are way too enamored with power. And I think finesse and controlling the golf ball, and it's just like I asked Brian earlier, what does he think about when he hits the shot? And it said it depends on the shot and what it requires. What a great answer.
Right.
It's not like you just stand up trying to power the ball everywhere. And it's great for amateurs to hear that, because it's all a matter of playing the game, not really just hitting the ball.
That's great. That's exactly right. Now, Harbortown, though, that's not short. I mean, 6,973 yards. Can we round that to 7,000, please? And let's don't forget, it plays to par of 71.
Yeah, and they got.
And this guy's hitting par 5s in 2 shots.
And I think they invented railroad ties before Pete Dye came along. There are some tough bunkers on that golf course. I've been in a few.
And let's add the fact that Alice Dye did design a couple of the greens and bunkers on that golf course as well. So kind of interesting. But, Lynn, you're great. We could talk for hours with you.
Lynn, we'll have to have you on again. It's going to be great. In fact, I think we've got Kip on the line coming right behind you here. But, again, can you give us your website for the golf school?
LynnBlakeGolf.com. LynnBlake golf.com.
Well, we appreciate your time. It was terrific. We'll definitely have you on again. And,
well, let me give you a phone number, too.
Absolutely.
770, I love it when it's done slowly, 527-3841. 770-527-3841.
Lynn Blake, got one of the best players out there, Brian Gay. Look him up. We'll be right back. You're listening to the Golf Insiders, 1080 ESPN. More good stuff coming up. Stay with us.